Alright, YouTube, welcome back on this beautiful Saturday of Labor Day weekend here. We've got brush pile to get moved over here to do some burning, some excavator mowing, and on the back of the truck we've got us a brand new John Deere 50P excavator with 1.3 hours on it. Then in the bed of the truck got a brush mower to go on it. So we'll get that unloaded and rolling. Alright folks, let's change our focus to what we actually came here to do today. Let's get brush cutter on our excavator and get to mowing. Unfortunately, the Deere couplers require tools to switch out buckets. It's not just a simple pin you pull like a Kubota, or you couldn't be lucky enough to have a hydraulic coupler. So you got to back this one pretty good sized bolt out here. Take your wedge lock out. It's inch and 3/16, whatever that might be in metric. It's not difficult, it's just kind of a pain in the butt. Especially considering this wedge likes to get stuck on here sometimes. Have to give it a little help. Takes a little bit of positive reinforcement, if you will. We'll slide over here and unhook from our bucket and get onto our mower. It is kind of nice the wedge lock, how tight it keeps everything. I will give it that. But like I said, it is a little bit of a pain to work with. And then it's not Deere's fault, but with this particular brush cutter, you can't put it back on with an impact. You got to take a socket and ratchet and do it. Just very time consuming. If you were constantly swapping back and forth between buckets all day, this very much so would quickly become a pain. We'll go ahead and fire up the machine and tilt it up so we can get that slop out of it. Alright, now we're just going to have all the couplers. There's one. Now there's two. Good morning, everybody. We've made it to Sunday now, the next day. We're heading out to our camp to do some more brush clearing with the excavator. Clear up some creek banks and hillsides that I like to do at least once or twice a year. So, we're out here on this little old one-lane country road. But, making it work. Beautiful, cool, late summer morning here. Almost fall. But we got excavator and the tilt trailer behind us here. So we'll get out here to our camp, get unloaded, and do some more mowing. Oh, the road just gets smaller as you get out here, but finally getting some creek views now. We'll climb up this little hill here. I have met a log truck in this turn before, so you got to be careful right here. You got that blind hill right there. It's always exciting when you meet someone right there. Hard to see with the sun shining through the windshield, but we're pulling up into our little slice of heaven here. Look at that. You can still see kind of the fog coming off the creek this morning. Anyways, we'll get pulled up here and unloaded and get to mowing. All right, y'all, we made it out to camp here. Go ahead and work on getting our excavator unloaded here. Just kind of show you around what we're going to do again. Gonna try to get this creek bank mowed all the way around, up around the turn here, then come down the roadside and do this front hill, clean up the side of the driveway, and whatever else we have time for. So let's get you set up and get this machine unloaded real quick. So I'm sure you're asking, why go through all this trouble of getting an excavator and a brush cutter and everything? Why not just weed eat it by hand? Well, a couple good reasons. One, growing up, my father and I used to weed eat all of this by hand several times a year. And while that looks good and it works, I do not have the time to. Because my father would spend like 2 days straight out here just weed eating, whereas with this I can do it all in about 3 hours. And two, I am extraordinarily allergic to poison ivy, and it seems like if I even touch a weed eater I just get covered head to toe in rash. So with this I have prevented getting poison ivy for the last 2 years, so I think it is well worth the money if you ask me. And I don't live up here anymore, so I don't have the time to do it by hand like I used to, so this is just time versus money ordeal. By the way, 1000% a tilt trailer is the way to haul any tractor equipment. It makes it so freaking easy. You don't have that scary teeter-totter effect with ramps. Here, why I twist the boom around to park it on the trailer with the cutter on. Otherwise, we've got several feet of the brush cutter hanging off the end of the trailer, so I think this makes it a little better and it rests on the trailer nice. Easy as that, folks. We'll go put the trailer up in the driveway and get after it. It's hard to show how steep we are, but we're right on the creek bank here. It has a decent little side slope down, then just drops off a good like 8-10 feet into where the water level is there. So definitely have to be a little careful right here on the edge. I know this doesn't show up on camera very well, but I am like boomed all the way down, all the way out. I'm cutting like 20 feet below me. If you look up here's road level, steep bank, way down to the creek down there. I said I am boomed all the way out and down, cutting well below me. Alright folks, we made it clear down to the other end. We're about 1/8 of a mile or better from where we started and got down to the end of our property here, so we're all clear. So now time to spin around, work our way down this bank back up to where we started at. Alright folks, here's a better shot of what all we got done. We got all the way down around the road that way to about up there, then came back down, did this hill all the way back around through here. You can see we got all the way up there on the roadside, all the way up here, then came up, did this hill here, and that's going to be about a wrap. That's about all I had time for today. Been here about 3 hours, got all this knocked out. Like I said back in the day when my father and I would have weed eated this would have been 2 full days to get this far, so definitely think it's a lot more efficient use of time with this bad boy here. Got a John Deere 50P, and then my little auction brush cutter that I made up here. I welded this Deere mount on last year. It's got a Bobcat mount on this side. That's what it came with when I bought it at the auction. But my local rental yard up here runs Deere excavators, obviously, as you can tell. So put me the Deere wedge lock coupler on this side. Down where I live, they do rent Bobcat, so maybe we'll have to try it out on that sometime. But I gotta get a couple things wrapped up here, then I'll give you a little bit of review of what I think running a brush cutter on a 50P is like. Folks, so like I said, about 3 hours later, got it all wrapped up. Let's get loaded up, head back to town. We got a cookout to get to. is that right on the trailer. You can see how much safer and faster that is to do on a tilt deck trailer versus with traditional ramps and going over the hump. Let's get these chains back on here and roll on into town. Hopefully that illustrated what I mean by the swing boom here pivoting around so that we're able to shorten up our overall length on the trailer. Plus, we're able to get that back lip on the deck so it's not wanting to teeter-totter on us. So normally when I'd haul this on a deck over equipment trailer like my pintle trailer for my dump truck, I'd do this point, then this point down to the side. But since this fender's in the way here, we have to go to that middle loop with the chain out. It's a little bit more work, but not too much of a hassle. Now, what would be nice is if I'd had some slip hooks or foundry hook, could have just put a grab or a hook on there and not had to crawl up in there and loop. But hey, we're working with what we got here. I think we're all set, folks. We left our bucket on there, didn't even need it. One more quick view. This beautiful creek we got down here. Now that you can see it's all nice and mowed. Just makes you really feel a lot better about the place. I need to bring regular tractor out and do the riding mowing. But man, it makes me feel so much better having those weeds knocked down. You couldn't even see this before. Definitely changes the way this place looks once it's all mowed up. I can get that cut with the tractor, no problem. All of these flats, that hill over there, and this hill here, piece of cake to mow with the tractor. But some of the steep stuff, there's nothing but you can do but an excavator, so. Alright, y'all, welcome back. We made it back to town. It is Monday of Labor Day weekend here. We need to get our mower off the excavator, put a bucket back on, and we'll go get it returned. First things first, let's get our hydraulic lines off of here. Alright, next up we gotta take our wedge lock off. Like I said, it's kind of a pain that it takes tools to swap out buckets on these Deere wedge lock couplers. It is nice they take up all the slop out of it, but it would be nice just to pull a pin or have a hydraulic coupler in lieu of this. So there, we got that out. Now we'll just curl out of it and get back on our bucket. We'll put our bucket on when we take it back to the rental yard here. Don't have quite enough room to get her rotated around, so we'll go get fueled up, cleaned up, and return it. Alright, y'all, let's talk real quick what my thoughts and opinions are on a brand new 50P John Deere excavator. I'll go through the pros real quick and then through the cons. So, pros real quick. The unit I had right at like 1.3 hours when I got it. It has about 12 on it now, so a little over 10 hours of runtime on it. The unit I got obviously had a cab. So pros real quick. The cab is extremely quiet, even when you have the engine wide open. It is smooth. You feel no vibrations, extremely quiet. You can't even hear the backup beeper hardly when the door is closed. Very nice, quiet, tight cab. The joystick controls are very well placed. As you can tell, I'm a bigger guy with some thick thighs, and there's some minis that I really struggle to run due to the joystick placement. Kubotas, especially their zero tail swing excavators, I literally can't run because the joysticks are hitting my thighs. So I really like the joystick placement in the Deere. As far as that unit also had angle blade on it, which I thought very well geometrically placed. I had no issues running into it with either the mower or the bucket. Very quick, responsive. Another thing I really like on the 50 Deeres, the undercarriage, it has very strong pushing power, strong final drives in it. You can push anything that's in front of the dozer blade, no problem. It tracks uphill just fine. Turns good. So, what are some of the cons? Well, let's pull in here and fill up the excavator with some of the red diesel here, and we'll talk about it more with a little walk around. All right, let's hop out here real quick and toss some diesel in this bad girl. Just kidding, we gotta grab the key first. All right, here we go, we got our key. Open up, and there's our fuel port. Slide this guy up. Fuel cap right there. Alright, so our fuel burn was just a little over 1 gallon an hour. So that's not too bad, running it wide open, running that brush cutter. So let's talk about some negatives of the machine. One, for being a brand new machine, I was underwhelmed by the air conditioning. It was actually pretty cool this Labor Day weekend, but in that little fishbowl of a cab, that sun's like a magnifying glass. But it was struggling to really keep up, even though it was only 78, 80 degrees or so. I had it full bore, wide open, recirculating, and it struggled to say the least. I would say barely kept comfortable. I would not want to be in that thing on a 100-degree day with 97% humidity, let's say that. Other things I'm not crazy about, this is more so just the class of machine, size it is, being a 5-ton. It only has one hydraulic pump, so when you're running auxiliaries like that brush cutter, it really kills all your other functions. And also there is no way to turn on continuous flow. All you have is the trigger and your thumb wheel, which a lot of people complain running a brush cutter like that. I kind of like it because you can pull the trigger, spin up your brush mower, and cut through stuff, and then release the trigger whenever you need to make fast readjustments with your machine, with your boom and arm placement and whatnot. You're able to turn off that auxiliary real fast and then have full flow to your other controls. You definitely can't run multiple functions while also having your auxiliary attachment running. It struggles with that. But in general, this machine seems to struggle to run 2 functions at once as well. It's definitely on the slower end, I think, for excavators in this size. It seems definitely the main boom seems pretty fast. The house rotating, the swing is pretty fast, but your dipper arm and your bucket seem real slow, even when you're not running your auxiliaries. So take that for what it is. And then I said the Deere wedge lock coupler is kind of a pain in that it takes tools to change out attachments. One other pro this machine had, the optional extra counterweight, which paired very well with the brush cutter. I've rented one in the past that did not have the extra counterweight, and it was always on one track. So if you plan on doing a lot of brush cutting, definitely try to find one with that extra counterweight. All right, here's that additional counterweight I was talking about. Like I said, that makes a world of a difference whenever you're running brush mower way out 20 feet on that arm. I know most people probably won't care, but here's what a cabbed 50P looks parked right beside an open station 50P. So, yep, just a little fun little tidbit here. So we'll hop in the truck and head home.